your day with a daily dose of integrity-based human influence. And on this thankful Thursday, what are you thankful for? How is your heart feeling? How's your spirit feeling? Share it in the chat. Like, let's just drop in, put our hands on our heart for a moment, and let's share what we're grateful for. What are we feeling? What are we thinking? Who do we love? Who are we looking forward to speaking to? Who can we love unconditionally with the utmost boundaries? That is what's present on this Thankful Thursday. And Mr. Callaghy, are you out there?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Hey,
Happy Thankful Thursday to everybody. What's happening? Hope everybody's off to a great start out there. Hope you're having a great day today. So, Fernando, how is your day getting started, brother?
My day is getting started well. Literally have calls from this moment all the way till 9:45 p.m. I got a 10-minute break at 3. So I am mentally preparing myself for all the humans I get to connect with today.
Yes. So beautiful thing. So thank you. I'm thankful for your work effort, your intensity, your focus, your zone action. So want to drop in today with some awesome guests. We're going to have Andres, Dr. Sean, and Diana joining us today. So looking forward to that in a second. What I also am very present to, and we're going to integrate all of this, is the critical power of the loss of things through deletion, dilution, distortion. And so our question for today is, and we ask this question at times, so its power can be lost when we ask things consistently. So the question is, where are you losing value? Like, where are you causing the loss in your money, time, and magic? One more time, where are you causing yourself to lose money, time, and magic and waste your money, your time, and your energy? That's, present. We want to be loving, excited, connected, all of these things. But answering the question of where are you losing money, time, and magic and causing yourself to waste money, time, and energy? Because, there's not many things that could be worse. Physical ailments, of course, things happening to loved ones, and, physically, of course. But put those things aside. The wasting of your energy, the wasting of things, the causing of delays, massive. And as we enter December, there's extraordinary critical import on our next collective level of acceleration. So I've been doing my R&D consistently, and some things are really occurring for me. And I have the blessing of working with so many of you one-on-one. We have the blessing of our group dynamics, and we have many amazing group calls today. And we also have the real raws. We have our Tuesday, Thursday calls, and some deletions, dilutions, distortions with all of the beautiful heart, love, connection, all these things are present. And I want to move into some of those today. For those that don't know, I'm out in Utah at the Chris Crone Omni event, and we have amazing people from the Unblinded team that are out here. Miles, Kathleen, doing such an incredible job. Nicole, Bella, Rob, Gil, and about 6 or 7 people from the Epic team are out here. And if I was clear on deletion, dilution, and distortion before yesterday, I am exponentially more clear because I was present to my own deletions, dilutions, and distortions yesterday. And to experience and be present to Chris Crone's process mastery around the space of amplification online was truly something remarkable to behold. And the inconvenient truthness of these realities left me pondering yesterday morning, last night, and this morning, where to go from here with the Unblinded huddles and movement. And it left me pondering an important question. I could sit here and continue a beautiful, amazing, connective love fest, which is what we have here, and continue that energy and be motivational, inspirational, and connecting. Not that we do not confront things, but I think we are at a 1980 Miracle on Ice confront level. And I want to present a question consistent with our topic for today of your money, your time, your energy, your money, your time, your magic. And my question is, why are you here in Unblinded? And I think it's really important for you to consider making a public declaration about that in the chat and making decisions. And I have mentioned this before. I've spoken on many stages, including Tony Robbins. And when I talk about the Platinum Partnership, I am clear that a lot of the people join Platinum Partnership for connection and love. They are there to find a partner. They're there to travel with people. And it's a beautiful outcome. It's a wonderful outcome. And for some of you, that's exactly why you're here. And it's accepted, received in gratitude. The love, the connection, the energy you bring here. I also want to know, though, are you truly here to grow and accelerate your business? Are you truly committed to that? And I asked that question because I had to answer that question myself yesterday as I sat in the Omni event. And I felt such a level of overwhelm as I sat there thinking about all of the micro distinctions that are off for our online presence amplification. And I was sitting there just feeling, how could I possibly do anything more? That question came up. How can I possibly drive more processes around all of this? And then I got into state. I realized how possible it was. I realized how it was really micro distinctions. And I just didn't feel like thinking about anything else. I didn't feel like confronting myself about anything else. I'm just enough. Decision fatigue, energetic fatigue, all were present. But then I quickly realized that I'm putting in so much energy and I'm diluting, deleting, distorting so much. For example, how we post the Real Raw, titling the Real Raw, introduction to the Real Raw, just sitting in the space of Real Raw. And Chris Crone said publicly that the Real Raw is as amazing a dynamic as exists, mind-numbing. And it could be watched by thousands and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people with some micro distinctions. They're going to take some work. They're going to take some experimentation. They're going to take not only shifts in how we title it, where we put it, but also some micro distinctions in how we introduce it and integrate certain keywords, as well as some of the names of the people on it, simply micro distinctions. And I didn't feel like doing any of them. I felt like ignoring all the information and just saying, can't, won't. That's another 15 minutes a day of intentionality, decisions, energy, focus. And I came back to the reality that why wouldn't I do this if I'm truly committed to the impact I'm saying? Why am I doing this in the first place? Because we're not doing it just to grow the company and add some people to programs. We're doing it to create partnership and have massive impact. And the magic, the impact is on the other side of these extra 15 minutes a day. And maybe in the beginning, it's going to take 2 hours in some segments to plan it, to disrupt, to cause leadership, to cause scaling, to cause duplication. But on the other side of it is the reality of the absence of deletion, dilution, distortion. And I'll lean in present to this. Chris told the story, and I mentioned this on a couple of the Real Raws. And by the way, fantastic job for actually holding Real Raws yesterday. We had a record-breaking day of Real Raws, incredible. And we're going to lean heavily into a conversation around Real Raw in a couple of minutes, and tonight on the call. And so Chris told this story, and then we're going to get to Sean, Andres, and Diana through this prism. Chris told the story of a dear friend of his who was lost. And this gentleman that was lost was the king of random. And that was their identity on YouTube. And this person had 12 million YouTube subscribers. And Chris at the time, this is going back a little over a year ago, had 500,000. And after this man was lost in an accident, he was an adventurer and did some really unique things. Chris was asked, and his team was asked, if they could lend some support to forwarding the legacy, the vision of. So the head of Chris's team gets on a phone call and has a conversation with the head of this other gentleman's team, and we'll call it King's team, the King's team. So in the conversation, King's team head to Chris's team head is like, I don't even know I'm on the phone call. You guys have 500,000 subscribers. We have 12 million. Like, how many video views do you get a month? And head of Chris's team said, 1 million. I said, 1 million? We have like individual videos regularly that get over 1 million views. I don't know I'm talking to you. And how many minutes a month are you watched? How many minutes do you engage? All of these questions. And the head of Chris's team was being polite and respectful, particularly in light of Chris's relationship with King. And eventually the head of Chris's team was like, dude, enough. I'm going to finish your question. Like, you guys are so amazing, incredible. I don't know why then, King's widow would have asked that we have this conversation. How much revenue are you doing? And King's team said, and then remember, they have 24 times the number of subscribers. Can you begin to imagine what it took to amass 12 million subscribers on YouTube? The effort, the distinctions, the process, the energy, the sacrifices, the titles, the content creation. 12 million subscribers, 24 times the number of Chris's subscribers. And so King's team said, revenue? We have this amount of money in AdSense. That's what you get paid from YouTube for stuff you do and stuff that happens. We have this much money in sponsorship. You guys don't have sponsorship. We create B amount of money in sponsorship dollars. And we create C amount of money in product sales and other things. That's what we got going. And the head of Chris's team said, well, it's amazing. You crush us in AdSense because you have 24 times the amount of people. You crush us in sponsorship because we have none. But we 10x you in all other things. And overall, we are almost double your revenue. So I think it makes sense that you're on this phone call with us, head of King's team. Because you have 24 times the number of subscribers, and we are almost double your revenue and growing, and we will be quadruple your revenue in no time. Let's start with Andres. And then we're going to drop in with Dr. Sean. Andres, what say you about that story?
What's up, Sean? Good morning. I hear that, and thank you for sharing that. I mean, it's what's present after you say that. It's our intentionality and it's our focus and why we're doing everything we're doing. And it's for me personally, I've been someone who wants to get things done, but sometimes I miss the eye on, like, okay, where is it all following when it comes to process and monetizing it? And we, thinking in terms of quantity, not quality. And what this story, what brings about is quality, not quantity, and truly looking at the value that you're creating, not just for other people, but for yourself and for what you're up to.
Yeah. And so I had an interesting conversation yesterday. So, Andres, why do you think the real raw exists? Why do you think I talk about the real raw so much, honestly?
Honestly, because it is an accelerant. Like it truly is an accelerant. And I've deleted, diluted, and distorted this in the past, and and it's all been through ego. But when I to answer your question, why do I think you talk about the real raw and its importance is because it is an accelerant. Like it touches everything that we need for us to not just develop our ecosystem mergers, but move things forward and capitalize and accelerate, not individually, but collectively, and add true value to people that we're merging with.
Yeah. And if I wanted to sell programs, right? And by the way, this hasn't come up as any kind of a problem. I'm leaning into this because of level 5 thinking around micro distinctions I'm seeing around the ecosystem, right? This is us checking in and up-leveling we're doing amazingly, but this is like up-level our game from functioning at 9.0 to 9.7. Like that's the space of December in the Unblinded ecosystem. And so as I look at it, a couple things come up for me. First, do you think if I wanted to make money and build my identity in my name, do you think that I could spend all day, every day getting booked to speak on stages? Like if I hired a person to book me to speak on every large stage in the country, how long do you think it would take before I was speaking to virtual audiences that were in the thousands 4 times a day? If that was my outcome, how long would that take me to produce that outcome by hiring one person?
I mean, not for you, not long.
Yeah, for me.
Not long.
Give me a timeline. I hire one person, or better yet, Adam. Adam is going to book me to speak on big stages 4 times a day, every day. How long until I'm speaking on 80 big stages a month, averaging 2,000 people or more virtually? How long until that's in place?
If it's one person doing that, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks?
Yeah. Certainly within 2 months. There's no way it's more than 2 months. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Thank you for that, Andres. Thank you for that. If I put my 16 hours a day in it, I do believe that it would be closer to the 2 weeks than a few months, but that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. No, that's what I was thinking. If it's Adam, yeah, immediately.
Yeah. And so, and if I was speaking in front of those stages and those people, right? How many programs do you think I would sell? If I speak to 2,000 people and I do what I do, and I have 90 minutes to drive people back into complementary strategy sessions, do you think we would be selling within 2 months of that structure more programs than doing it the way we're currently doing it through Real Raws? So I'm speaking to audiences then on average of 8,000 people a day, 40,000 people a week, 160,000 people a month, that I am delivering the content and driving people back into strategy sessions and what is Unblinded. There's no Real Raw. What is Unblinded? And that's all I'm doing. Do you think we sell more programs every month than we're selling now?
I think in the short term, yes.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes.
Without a doubt, mind-blowingly.
Yeah.
So why is there a Real Raw? Why, in the name of God, would we do all of this work and create all this? And why would we waste our time working with people whose skill sets are 1/100th of ours? Because we're at 9.9999, and we sit in the differential space that Chris Crone does. Like what Chris Crone is to monetization online, we are to stage and microphone selling. there's nobody better in the world. And that's why Tony Robbins puts me on a stage. And it's interesting, and part of this is because in one-on-one session, somebody said to me yesterday, well, yeah, like, you know, the real raw like builds Unblinded. I said, that's why you think I'm doing this? I'm like, no. I said, but that's your first answer. And if I wanted to build something and make money, I just told you exactly what I would do. Because I had one assistant in 2004, and I was making $40,000 a month in the third month, and that was just the beginning. I could make $5 million a year tracking for me personally and not need any of this in no time flat doing this. None. Easily. I'd make $10 million doing this the year after, and I'd be like the next guy. And I would never do it because, quite frankly, I could make $10 million a year much more easily working in Calgary law and have no impact on the world either. Because if I'm the guy, there's no impact on the world. If I make $10 million and be the guy, I don't need $10 million. I don't care. So I guess actually that did bother me. So if you think that we're building real raws for Unblinded, like for me, for my amplification or Adams and Fernando's, then write in the chat and say it. And come on and debate me about it. Please. And that may be only blacked into one thought, but it hit me like with a major electrical charge. Because if that perspective is amplified in any way, you're going to hurt people. Seriously hurt people. Because people are looking for an excuse to fail. People are, write this down, people are looking for an excuse to fail. And if you give them one, it will take your poison and destroy their dreams. Especially if they're frustrated and struggling with their own self-influence or process mastery. They will drink the poison. Do not give people poison. Do not give them a lie to buy into. Do not give them a lie to buy into. The real raw exists because skill sets and influence mastery are suboptimally horrifying. I do this every single day. It is mind-numbing to me. Yesterday was one of the best real raws ever, and one of the people on there, unbelievable influencing skill set. I say, how's your business? Basically, terrible. That's a story everywhere. Because people have value chain breakdown in the formula. And we are going to close those gaps during the month of December and tonight. Andres, your influencing skill sets are tremendous. If there is any challenge in monetization, it is because you are deleting, diluting, and distorting massively. And you're amazing. And you're incredible. And I guarantee you that each and every one of you have people around you trying to sell you lies that benefit them, that will not accelerate your future. I sat in that room yesterday with Chris Crow, and somebody tells you they're going to fix your website, it's going to make you money, you should arrest them. Have them arrested. It's crazy. The amount of distinctions, like Facebook, Chris Crone's team, quote, you cannot make money on Facebook unless you pay. You cannot. This is what they're teaching people paying $100,000 to be there. You cannot make money through Facebook unless you pay. Facebook is a paid platform, period. Their position. They didn't even teach Facebook. And they said, we're not also going to teach you to get paid traffic, because if you can't build organic traffic, quote, if you cannot build organic traffic, it's because people don't find you compelling And you cannot pay people to find you to be compelling. Joseph McClendon is in this program. What's that? Hello?
So that was me. I said amen.
Wow.
If you can't get people on your Real Raw, you can't pay people on Facebook to do business with you. It's because you can't go from hello to yes. It's because you can't go from hello to yes. Chris Crone outsources none of his marketing. Chris Crone's quote, "You cannot outsource your marketing."
Agreed.
I, Chris Crone, spent $3 million in my life, paid for people to do things for me, paid for advertising, and the only benefit I got were very expensive lessons on how much people don't care, how much people don't know, and why you cannot outsource all of this. Quote from Chris Crone. These are uncomfortable and inconvenient truths because I love everybody, and some of you guys do this for a living. That is the quote from Chris Crone for $100,000 that he is telling people. Joseph McClendon has spoken on Tony Robbins' stage forever, right? And Joseph is in this program to learn how to monetize his tremendous skill sets and leverage them online. And the answer is you got to do a lot of work, man. And Chris is giving every single thing out that he does. And it's like just insert and replace. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. But the amount of skill we need has to rise. And Real Raw is the base place for the rising of that talent and skill. Your influence mastery rises as you get people on your Real Raw, as you cause them to show up. Let me tell you something. I got people on there who are at this thing who are like, I can't wait to come on the Real Raw. Can I come on the Real Raw? Can I come on the Real Raw? Sean, can you come? But 3 years ago, nobody on earth knew who the hell I was. And I was a dude in the middle of Tony Robbins' room who was blind. You can create that too. And that's what we're teaching you how to do here. Because without your influence mastery, you're going nowhere. It's going nowhere. And so this program solves for the problems. And it gives you the deep practice tools, see Real Raw, see 10 by 10, and wait till you see where 10 by 10 is come the beginning of the year. And even from people within this program, there's massive deletion, dilution, and distortion. Simply put, you want to know what to do with your Real Raw and how to create monetization, then be on the call tonight at Thursday night. And I will repeat for at least the 50th time what you're not doing. At least the 50th time. Write it down, repeat it, and I will give you this truth. And I thank you for your time, your energy, and your heart. Stop doing what you like doing and distorting this program, marketing, selling, and leadership. Stop distorting it into your comfort zone. And stop looking for friends to be in fake confusion with you to do the same. Because you will find them. And what we said from the very first day, do not let us care more about your dreams than you do. And you will find your friends. And they will tell you you're right. And you will skip merrily down the deletion, dilution, distortion hole into not having the money, time, and magic you want. And then you'll go somewhere else and you'll do it again. And then you go somewhere else and you'll do it again. And then you go somewhere else and you will do it again. And those programs will have the answer for how you get there. I am on a pilgrimage and a sacred journey to reveal the truth of how to do everything in the greatest amount of money, time, and energy efficiency. Everything. And that's why my ass is sitting in rooms, moving in and out, jumping on the Real Raws, coaching, back in the room. I'm not there for myself. I'm there for us. I am sitting in that room to bring you back the truth and how to amplify, accelerate, and leverage everything we're doing nonstop, continuously. From a person that makes eight figures, selling stuff online and shoots videos for 6 hours a week. Now, Chris and I are on two different journeys, and he's learning from me like crazy. And he said in that room last night, there's nobody in the world I've ever met that has more influence than Sean Callaghan, period. The ability to cause leadership like Sean Callaghan. He goes, and that's what Chris learns from me, but we're in two different lifestyles. Chris has 4 kids. He's in the mode where I was when I wanted to be a business owner, not operator. I didn't want to be, he doesn't want to be traveling. He wants to be present to his kids. So I honor that. And that's why there's ecosystem merger magic on the horizon, because we have two different needs. We have two different skill sets. We have two different time processes, and they're wildly complementary. Unblinded in what Chris is doing. So, Andres, you're amazing. Your skill sets are crazy. What are you present to? And final from you, and then I'm going to get to a big pivot with Sean Condabori in a second, and then back to Dan and repivot this conversation. So, what's present for you, Andres?
I'm thankful for you, because how in the world would you do all of that if it wasn't for the collective? If it wasn't for, it's not about Unblinded. It's not about you. It's about everyone collectively, and that's the reason why I'm here. Because it's about all of us, and yes, I've been a victim of the deletion, dilution, distortion, but looking at it with truth and humility, taking ego out of the way, it's what's creating acceleration for me and growth on a daily basis. So yeah. I'm thankful for you.
And brother, you are in the top 1% of influencing skill set. You're in the top 1% of process mastery understanding. And I'm challenging you in the month of December to lead. You're already leading. To lead at levels you had never led before. Because we need now, like, the leaders of the Navy SEALs. But there's people that cause leadership. There's people that lead the SEALs. And we need leaders who are ready to take their game to the next level in terms of the absence of deletion, dilution, distortion, and take themselves from 9.0 to 9.9. And we need you. So I leave that to you, brother.
Challenge accepted.
Thank you.
Challenge accepted.
Thank you.
I'm here fist pumping up with Diana. Ready.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Sean, Dr. Sean Condamori, for those that don't know, for me, stands for this in the world. He stands for a life like Chris Crone, but just a different picture of it. He stands for a life of intention, a life of success, a life of balance, a life of a different choice than Andres would be making, and a different choice that I would be making at this point. He is growing, he's accelerating, and he's doing it in an amazingly intentional way, entirely consistent with the formula. He has a tremendously successful series of businesses in the space of healthcare, including a practice that he loves, delivers amazing treatment to patients. And if anybody is confused, I know a ton of doctors, and most of them do not make a lot of money and struggle and are wildly stressed. Sean is not. He's a brilliant leader in business and genius. He has an incredible family. They are perfectly imperfect, like all of ours, but he lives a life of beautiful intentionality and balance, and he's growing in the process of adding yet another amazing doctor to his practice that culturally fits, that creates beautiful access points to treatment, diversity, acceleration, inclusion. And Sean, you represent the best of somebody who has reached a wonderful place of money, time, and magic. So good morning, and thank you for being here.
Good morning, Sean. How are you? Your words are too kind. You're too kind. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you, brother. And so maybe, if you could speak into some of this, because I think at times for you, questions have risen of like, wow, I'm not sitting here and saying I want to change the world in, next year. And I want to impact the world, but I love my life. So if maybe you could just share a little bit about your philosophy and where you are and what's happening.
Sure. So you've been saying for the last few months, whenever we've spoken, and also even publicly to the group, that I live this very intentional life. I never really used that term for myself. I don't know what intentional life really means. I didn't really know what it meant. But then upon thinking about it, I guess what I realized is that, I want to live an extraordinary life. And we talk about like just living a life of meaning. I want to live a life of joy, love, passion, success. I want to live it on my terms. And, my opinion is, or my feeling is that if I can live to you mentioned earlier, why are we here at Unblinded? And when you said that, I thought, well, the reason I'm here in Unblinded is so I can develop the next best version of myself. And that next best version of myself allows me to accelerate my business and help the people who I employ, I help people who work with, and all the patients we take care of. So that is on a small scale, or at least I consider it a small scale, because I'm not impacting billions of people, but I'm impacting thousands of people. And that happens if I just keep improving myself. So when you say I live an intentional life, I think it just really means I'm living a life the way I want to, and on my terms. I think that's important that we all look at life that way. I think far too often people are living in their past, and we all have past that were painful in one way or another. But we have to sort of make our own choices. And then I've just made choices that work for me and for my family and for my business.
Sean, thank you for that. And what I'm present to, and I had a beautiful conversation with Anil Gupta. We've had a series of conversations around it. And it is this: when you look at a life to model, I am not suggesting, and this program is not about modeling my life, right? It is not about modeling Adam or Fernando's life. We are making very unique and intentional choices, and we are doing things at an extreme level, similar to the way David Goggins decided to be a Navy SEAL and run ultra marathons. I am not recommending that lifestyle to anybody, to be crystal clear. What this program stands for, however, is modeling how I got to the place of being able to make a choice to do this. That's what I'm suggesting. And with that choice, with that blessing, with those outcomes, I am making hyper-intentional choices. Again, the same way I might choose to climb Mount Everest. And maybe I choose to do it as a blind man and do something crazy like do it with no oxygen to make a statement of possibility in the world, similar to David Goggins, right? That's sort of what I'm doing here. What I'm recommending is to get to a base camp where your life, because I would say Sean has a life that is a 9.999 in terms of how consistent it is with what he intends. My life at this point is a 9.999 also in being consistent with what I intend at this juncture. That means my life is wildly consciously imbalanced. This is probably not the picture, as Anil said, and I'll lean into it, of how to create an optimal personal relationship in your life, this model, right, at this juncture. It is wildly business creation intentional. In terms of me stepping into the space of being a father, I'm super comfortable where I am right now in my fatherness because my kids are super busy, and they're still like at that age of, my daughter Courtney turns 19 today. And I'm so blessed and so thankful for her amazingness. And I couldn't be more proud. And my kids are busy. Tyler didn't come home for Thanksgiving, and we are best friends, and everything is beautiful and amazing because of COVID, but he also wanted to stay with his friends and not be able to go back after Thanksgiving. And so they're growing, they're sprouting. My kids aren't Chris Crone's age at this juncture. Sean's son just was named 30 under 30. Like Forbes 30 under 30. Like, Sean, how did that feel for you, by the way?
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, I got a text in the morning that was just 2 days ago. And that when that text came in, it was literally it was amazing. It was awesome. You just felt so good for him and so good for, you kind of validate what you've done as a father and as a mother, because I'm certainly not the only one who helped, raise him, but it just makes us really feel good that he's working on his own life. He's working hard. He's set a goal and a vision, and he's getting some rewards and some accolades for it. So we were very, very happy for him, because he works very, very hard. I mean, much harder than me. Not maybe almost as hard as Sean. I mean, he's like up all the time. I mean, it's the life of an entrepreneur. I mean, he is, it's crazy. So we're happy for him, and we're just very, proud to see that he's reaching his goals, and he's doing it with the right way. In most importantly, for anything, it's all about character. And he and I'm happy to say all my boys are, of very high character. They have fun, they enjoy life, but they're not going to hurt people. They're not going to cheat. They're not going to lie. Those are the important things that I think have to be out there when it's not all about money. It's not all about success, not all about financial success.
And so if you're going to look at a model in Unblinded and what we're saying to create about your money, time, and magic, we're not saying that the cause, the purpose of this program is that you have to try to change the world, right? Meaning like 1 billion people. Sean changes the lives, as he said, of thousands of people on a monthly basis. He changes it through his healthcare. He changes it through his love, his caring, his impact. And he does the same with his family. And he has a beautiful life. He has a wonderful life. And that is what we're creating modeling around. Now, when we talk about the micro distinctions of how to get to that space, how to get to the level of financial abundance and freedom that Sean has, the balance in family, all of those things, the tools we're providing, the formula, or your awareness of it, because it just exists and is impacting you right now, every minute, and me and Sean and everyone, as well as the real raw and these other tools, so you can accelerate to a different financial level. If you're making 50 grand to get to 150 grand, 150 grand to get to 500 grand, 500 grand, and you want 1 million to 1 million, but doing it intentionally and realizing what and why and how you're doing it. And that's what this program stands for. So Sean, any final thoughts on living an intentional life for people and what you might share from your heart to theirs?
Yeah, sure, Sean. I mean, I think one mistake I made throughout my life, and I'm getting better and better at it, is to not compare myself with others. I mean, just in our program alone, there are so many amazing people in the Unblinded program. Yourself and all of the other participants of our, in our family here, who just, when I hear some of the things they say, I think, gosh, that is so brilliant. That is so smart. Why couldn't I say that? Why didn't I think that? It makes sense. So you have to catch yourself and really not compare yourself to others. You have to think about, what you were born to do, what can you do best, and just keep moving forward. I think a lot of times when we're in a world of success and achievement, all we think about is, why didn't I make as much money as that person? Why didn't I achieve as much as that person? If I go back to Date with Destiny in 2018, I think the Date with Destiny is happening right now, so it just comes to mind. A couple of years ago when I was at Date with Destiny, one of the things that Tony has us do is he has us create the purpose statement. So, you spend all day long on one of the 5 days or 7 days, I guess, coming up with this purpose statement. So my purpose statement, which I, obviously is kind of ingrained in my head, is the purpose of my life is to be a compassionate leader, enjoy a balanced, fun life, and do good by healing and contributing. It doesn't say in there, I'm going to make $5 million this year. However, there at the same time, when we make that poster at Date with Destiny, for those who've never been to Date with Destiny, you're asked to come up with 4 goals. And those should be very, distinct goals. And one of those goals I had was a financial goal, but that's not the purpose statement. The purpose is really all about, I think, if you work hard, strive hard to have a magnificent life, it extends beyond you, and you start doing little things. And like I said, I don't really help 1 billion people at all, but we help people one at a time. I mean, one thing my wife and I started many years ago is that son of mine who was just named Forbes 30 under 30. He was very much into science fairs, And I used to travel all around the country with him to go to science fairs. And he's won national, international science competitions for the research he's done. And it would always start with a regional fair right near our house. And I live in a very beautiful, wealthy neighborhood, one which I never grew up in. We grew up very, very lower middle class. And then hardly 10 miles from where I live, 5 to 10 miles from where I live, is Gary, Indiana, Gary and East Chicago, Indiana, which are very, very poor neighborhoods. And there would be kids from those neighborhoods that would come to the science fair. And they had very few resources, but they put together a science project. And my wife and I noticed this a long time ago. And we said, well, we should sponsor some of these kids and see if we can help them. So for many years, we'd sponsor 2 kids a year to go to Purdue University to attend a summer science camp and kind of mentor these kids. And some of these kids, not some, all of these kids have gone off to college. One's a microbiologist, one is doing his PhD.
Wow.
Well, it's just great to see these kids came from like nothing. And I had a small part in helping them to reach these amazing goals. And they're going to change the world in one way or another. So little things like that really don't even cost a lot of time and energy, I think are important for us to look at, or at least for me, because again, my goals are not to affect 1 billion people. But maybe in the small things we do, we affect a lot of people. That's how I would kind of look at it. That's sort of the influence you talked about, Sean, and how the power of influence from so many little things we do. And, I think that you mentioned earlier about your, about why you're doing what you're doing and the way you're doing it and how it's really not very efficient. You could certainly make a whole lot more money doing it in other ways. But you're doing this in a selfless way, and you're helping us to become better speakers, helping us to do a better job with our real Ross, helping us become leaders, teaching us the importance of increasing our influence skill set, our self-mastery skill set, our public speaking skills, our leadership skills, and then hopefully we go and impact others and others and others. That in some way, that's how I look at my life.
Well, Sean, you're an inspiration, and I am endlessly honored for the interactions I have with so all of the people in this ecosystem, and certainly you, my friends. And it's an honor to call you a friend and to be inspired by your life. And there's days that I wake up envious and say, Sean at least has a little time to breathe right now. That would be fun. I remember those days. And congratulations on such an extraordinary life and your leadership here. And please see people like...
It's a different kind of breathlessness, Sean. It's a very different kind of breathlessness. If you say I have time to breathe, I don't think I do. Like I come home, my son, who's my third son, and just for clarification, I have 2 older boys, for those who don't know, who are 28 and 25. And then my wife and I very foolishly, or maybe in a good way, decided to have a child 10 and a half years after our second child. So when we did the math, we realized that we'll be parenting for 32 years. 32 years by the time my 15-year-old graduated from high school. So that is not, it's fun, but it's not like I have a chance to breathe, because we're taking him to tennis like every night. We drive to Chicago, a few nights a week, take him to tennis. We sit around watching him hit strokes. And we go to tournaments with him on weekends. And at the same time, we work and we take care of patients, and we keep, we build our businesses, and we attend, 6 or 8 hours of morning huddles and Tuesday, Thursday sessions and everything else that Unblinded has for us.
And hold on, Dr. Sean, did you ever think there'd be the day, Sean, that he would have a filled Real Raw open yesterday? You remember how all that started?
Oh, yes, totally.
Great job, Sean. And so, yes, forgive me for any distortion of that. And you also, of course, get the blessed opportunity to time block, handling the emotional byproducts of an elite teenage athlete when things don't go well. So that is a massive undertaking, because I have just come off of that with my daughter, and who I love to no end. But oh my goodness, the time blocking that occurred after each soccer game and often after each practice for all the things that had to be discussed. So it was amazing. So congratulations, and thank you, Sean. And let's look at leadership in terms of intentional life. Like that's the Unblinded standard: money, time, and magic. And Sean is a 9.999 plus in money, time, and magic. And thank you for being here this morning, Sean, and for your amazing Raw yesterday. And you just make things happen. So great job.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you very much.
Yeah. All right, we're running long, which is not shocking. So, Captain Marvel, Diana, we're gonna go much deeper tonight. But what is present for you? And I issue a similar challenge to you as Andres, and you have been both stepping into such beautiful leadership. But what is present for you, Diana?
Hi, Sean. Good morning. How are amazing
I'm doing great.
conversation today. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we have
Hello?
you. Yes.
Oh,
Yep.
perfect. Thank
Can you
you.
hear me?
Well, what is present for me, as I heard what you were saying with Andres before and now with Sean, is that we are sitting in the space of the disruption of truth at the greatest level. And what I realized that is happening with us as a movement right now is that we are evolving in our understanding that what we are creating, what you have created and is being innovated right now through sharing it with so many, is the absolute integration of influence mastery plus business mastery plus self-mastery. That is what the real raw represents for me. Is an opportunity to really witness where are you in all these different aspects. And what I call it a truth disruptor is because what comes up the first for you is either the resistance to the concept as a whole because you've never experienced something like that, or the resistance to really understand what are you talking about that you just said 50 times, and or anything that comes out of that, calling, finding people, inviting them properly so they know what they're getting into, understanding the accelerator that it is, the business growth that is possible within it. But for me, because I'm a self-mastery expert and student for life, it's an amazing opportunity to realize how it all begins with self-mastery. And when you're not able to face the truth that you're lacking some self-mastery around something that is stopping you from really, really owning the power of the real raw as an experience, and everything that comes out of that, I feel sad. And I feel sad for myself. I've been sitting in that space of fake confusion and not allowing my truth to come out. And I have a hatchet for delusion, dilution, and distortion. And I'm ready to kill it. So what's present for me is an opportunity to rise in my mastery and my leadership by finally taking action and understanding fully what you're talking about here.
Yep. And thank you, Diana. And we're going to wrap this in 2 minutes, which probably means 6, but that's okay. So Diana, really quickly, when you're amazing, your love for the program, think of LBI, your heart, the explosion, the love, the passion, the commitment, the integration, the burning of fires. You want to know what is the number one challenge for people with their real raw? It is the fact. I'm gonna say tell me if you agree. It is the fact that it's a public report card. It is a public report card on where you are on your influence, self, and process mastery. That is what it is. And if your commitment, different than Sean, is like Sean is not in a space of rapid desire for rapid accelerated growth. He wants growth, but not rapid accelerated growth. But his report card showed up with many stars, right? With all he's doing with his real raw. And it would be totally fine if it didn't, because he's not in the space of rapid accelerated growth. But if you're in a space of design rapid accelerated growth, your real raw is your report card on how you're doing your self, influence, and process mastery. Your time blocking, your influence mastery skill set, the integration of the right people and the right professions that can help one another, and what you do in follow-up, the ecosystem merge, cause speaking engagements, create sales meetings and sales. Unblinded report card, we sit as an A+. And I proudly, congruently share that with you. what is your report card? Question mark. I sat in a room with Chris Crone.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. So let me say one more thing and then go, Diana. I sat in a room with Chris Crone yesterday and I got my report card in leveraging myself digitally. And I was an F- and wanted to throw up and cry. And that's where I sat yesterday. I want to throw up and cry and think of everything, how much time I have wasted, how much energy I have wasted. Well, actually, that's not true. How much opportunity I have wasted with the energy and time I've invested, because it was well invested. But how much more can be amplified and leveraged? So I'm with you, because I just got my ass kicked yesterday. So if you're feeling any ass kickingness this morning, that's part of love and truth and accountability and confront. And my ass was kicked yesterday. I think I had like a mini anxiety attack last night. I'm not even kidding. I felt sick. I felt like I just felt awful. I had to like walk out of the room. I had to go sit by the bathroom for a while. I was like, I've just been around people too long. I need a little break and isolation. Now I think I was just overwhelmed and confronting myself in our processes. I think that's what it was. So I have empathy if that's how you feel. But I'm grateful that Chris Crone helped me feel that yesterday. And I'm grateful that I helped him feel it in certain ways. So we're here to do when you're in a peak performance environment, which this is. So Diana, back to you. We're going to wrap in 60 seconds and pick it up tonight with this conversation and you being there, Diana, because there were some amazing breakthroughs I think we had yesterday in conversation. But back to you for any final on that.
Thank you, Sean. And what comes to mind in my heart when you talk about this as a report card, as a public view of where are we standing right now at this moment, it brought me memories of my own report cards growing up, which were a combination of great grades but awful behavior. I was a rebel and the nuns in my school didn't like it, right? So I was called to the office and my mom too, and I wanted to hide that report card. I wasn't proud of it. But now with the distance and the time that I put into self-growth, I realized that it's an opportunity. And if we are vulnerable enough to embrace what comes out of that report card, then where are we coming short? Where is the mastery? Is our greatness? What can we grow already? I'm all about making what is already happening, what is already present and easy and fluid, more, better, standing in there with pride and not hiding yourself from who you are, and also getting to work in what's suboptimal. So I would invite everybody that is feeling also a little beat down about this, like myself, and like I hear you were last night, to just take it as an opportunity to grow, to keep finding more truth, and not come shy of who you truly are. The power that you're looking for is within you. And here are the tools, here's the technology, here's the platform. Let's get to work in understanding it and implementing what needs to happen. So we're all accelerating our money in less time with way more fun and heart and love and magic. And we know that's possible. So let's go, guys.
Yeah. And if you delete one thing, you don't get the outcome. If you delete or dilute one thing, you don't get the outcome. Tonight, we're going to lean in on all those leverage points, and we are going to create a process mastery. We have a document. We're going to lean in on the micro distinctions inside that document, because the number come tonight if you want to figure out what I believe to be one of the craziest dynamics in this entire movement that I don't understand, and I'm going to disrupt and change. And it is why nobody is reaching out to professional organizations to integrate them into your real raws. I've said it 50 times. It is mind-numbing to me. And Diana, who I love to no end, is it okay if I do a reveal, Diana? I will not, without your permission, just have one statement. Let me be clear.
Yes, sure.
About the finding of people. Okay?
Yeah.
Can I lean into that? Yeah. So Diana was like, yeah, I think people, it's like hard to find these people. I had Nicole, I said it to somebody, hey, pick a state and pick a profession. Just pick any state, any profession. And somebody on another one-on-one call picked a state and a profession. Nicole, in 60 seconds, found an organization of accountants in Florida and had 20 names on a list. 60 more seconds, found another organization of accountants in Florida. 60 more seconds, found a third organization of accountants in Florida. The total number of names on the list was about 50. Why that has been deleted, diluted, and distorted out of what people are doing? L. Anderson and Goba was the only version of that that I am aware of. And if you have one, forgive me for not recognizing yours. There's tens of thousands of organizations like that. And when you have the leader on the raw and they're like down and it's great, then the entire organization is there to do business with and then leverage the other organizations. And it took 3 minutes to find 3 organizations and 50 people in leadership in those organizations to talk to. So Diana, could we at least get a yes and an amen that it is very easy to find these organizations and people?
Yes, I did it myself today. It took me a minute and a half to find 6.
Unbelievable. And final, on LinkedIn, there is a strategy to do this at some level, but let me tell you this. Finding one at a time in LinkedIn is a fraction of what finding groups of mavens, connectors, and salespeople. You literally can Google in 60 seconds for mavens, connectors, and salespeople on Google. But I'm going to tell you something that we're going to lean into tonight. The reason you want to do it on LinkedIn is because you don't have to pick up the phone and talk to them. That's why you want to do it on LinkedIn. And as long as you're afraid of the telephone and rejection, you're going to keep eating pain at some level for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Damn.
You will continue to eat pain for breakfast, for lunch, and for dinner. But don't do this, please. Do not step into my world that I am sacrificing for and lie. Do not step into this world and lie, because I will come with the vengeance of truth and lightning bolts. I am going to lie to you. Don't lie to anybody here, because I love everybody. I love you, but don't hurt anybody with your lies. Don't hurt anybody. And I have said, reach out to these organizations 50 times. And if you're not, it's 100% on you, and own it. And own it. And I love you. But I will unleash at all times my inner Herb Brooksness for the sake of my love for you and truth and my love and protection of this movement. Fernando, final.
I feel like I had a whole hour of pain for breakfast this morning. This is reality at its best. This is checking the ego at the door. This is today's the huddle. This is what a huddle feels like. This was a beautiful prep. Thank you, Diana, Andres, Mr. Condamori, Dr. Condamori, for creating this. Mr. Callaghy, thank you for leaning in. This is you, sir. This is you. And I've been feeling it in my heart. It's like, Mr. Callaghy, stop hiding, because it's this level of confront that you do with the ones you love the most. And here's where breakthrough happens. And today was it. And final. Thank you for your vulnerability, as self-mastery does ebb and flow. And I respect that you felt the way you did yesterday, and I'm glad it happened to you too. That's a beautiful thing for the movement.
And Fernando has received at least 20 doses of this, as have Rob Gill and Michael Smikin, and quite frankly, my children. And I do it to myself all the time, and many other people I work with at Callaghy Law and work with closely, and that's what love looks like. It is true. So love you guys. It's right here for you. Let's go get it. And tonight we're going to lean into those micro distinctions where you're deleting, diluting, distorting for massive acceleration now.